Hi, everybody. I am here. I'm Andrea Amador. I'm so excited to be here with you. Today, I want to talk about how I got over $40,000 worth of grants. I know, I know, it's crazy. I want to break it down for you. But first, I want to tell you something that if you are the biggest secret on the web, then your business is not a money making business. And I learned that the really, really, really hard way when COVID wiped out the 80% of my income. And all of a sudden, almost overnight, my husband and I could not afford to pay the rent because we went from a two income family to a one income family. And it was a very, very scary time. Hey, you guys, I'm not even sure if you hear me. So do me a favor and let me know. Give me a shout out in the comments. Let me know that you hear me. Okay, so let me see. Everything's going. I'm live. Yes. Okay. So let me talk to you a little bit about this. COVID, um, COVID in and of itself um, was has been and is a huge, huge challenge to so many of us. But for we business owners who have been struggling with putting ourselves out there and um, selling your services, it has been even more of a challenge because what happened, I'll share from my experience personally, is that what happened to me is that COVID uncovered a problem in my business that had been existing for a long time, but I wasn't aware of it until my income was wiped out overnight. And what I mean by that is perhaps you know me, perhaps you don't. I am Andrea Amador. I have been in business since 2004. The name of my company is The Juicy Woman. And I am the Juicy Woman. I am an author and a women's empowerment coach. And back there are two of the books. This is the book that I wrote, Loving the Skin You're In, The Juicy Woman's Guide to Making Peace with Food and Friends with Your Body. And I am incredibly proud to be a contributing author for Chicken Soup for the Soul, Curvy and Confident. And that kind of opens up a path and explains why it is that I'm doing this, revealing this very intimate, very vulnerable information, which is finances, because nobody wants to go and talk about money. Um, but I will, because what I have done as a women's empowerment author is I have gotten really comfortable over the years. Since 2004, I've been blogging. I have like 500 blog posts, and I have this book, and I have others. I've been reading, doing podcasts, and being very vocal in the body acceptance community. And I'm a big woman, okay? Call me fat, it's cool. Um, but what I want to say about that is that because I have had to develop such a thick skin and a comfort level in terms of being able to talk about uncomfortable circumstances, and I have been sharing my life through my blog, The Juicy Woman, for, wow, 15 and something years. Um, this is just one other aspect of that, talking about finances, because what I have learned as a women's empowerment coach and working with women around self esteem issues is that when we have a negative self image, It is going to show up in our finances. Now, I didn't think that was true. I didn't think that was um, realistic, because for a very, very long time, I had tons and tons of money. And then, well, what happened was I had gotten involved and I stepped in to run my family's business um, for my father. And it turned out really badly. I ended up leveling the business to an 8-figure business. And he basically, after it was sold for $10.5 million, washed his hands of me. And I spent over 10 years grieving that loss of being estranged from my father. And I had to step away from my coaching because I felt like I had no integrity whatsoever to empower other women when I was about as low as the sidewalk. So, kind of like, if when in the car, if you've got your foot on the gas and the other foot on the pedal and you're hitting both of them, that was what was happening with my business. I would come out a little bit and share a blog post, or I would do a Facebook update, and then you wouldn't see me for a month and a half. I would get so twirled up and um, overwhelmed and just crazed by all of this stuff in my life, all of the family drama, all of the challenges, and as a result, because of my inconsistency and my very poor handling of money, when I wasn't, yeah, see, as it is that I have said, I'm very, very passionate and very vocal about being loving yourself and body acceptance. And that came as a result of years and years of hating my body and struggling with this incredibly negative self image. And what that did for me was it made me realize, it made me learn how to fight and how to struggle and how to get through tough times. So let me step back and let me give you what you're here for. Okay. Um, if you are having a hard time making ends meet and paying the bills and covering rent, you are so not alone. There is such a climate of difficulty and fear and shame that a lot of people are feeling because they just cannot produce what they have before. Maybe you have lost your job. Maybe you have a side hustle in addition to your business, and you're just feeling completely lost. Well, what I want to share with you is that there are these amazing free government funded programs that are called grants. Yeah. And what grants are basically is that it's, let's just say, um, you can't afford to pay your rent. So you call up a family member and you ask to borrow some money. Or you have made the decision to take out a loan or a payday loan, or you're not paying rent, whatever it is. You don't have to do that. You don't have to get into debt. You can actually get help paying your expenses by learning how to use these free government money programs. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, oh my God, that's terrible. I would feel so ashamed. It's like being on the breadline. No, 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 no. because the truth is that these programs have been active for many, many decades. And all of the rich people and all of the big corporations, they have been taking advantage of leveraging the government and using these programs for a long time. I came to this situation and I am here running this live stream because I learned about grants by necessity. When my husband and I couldn't afford to pay rent, at first I panicked. And when I panic, I just automatically go to food. So I must have eaten all of the sugar in the entire house. And I felt sorry for myself for 4 months. If you can even consider being that overwhelmed and that afraid to do something about the circumstance, that was me. That's what I did. I don't recommend doing it. A good friend had recommended to me to look and check out grants. She said, "Have you ever considered seeing if you could apply for a grant?" And I thought, "Grant? What is that?" And what I always do is YouTube is my go-to. So I went to YouTube, and the first thing I did was I saw a video of Matthew Lesko's. Matthew Lesko is very near and dear to my heart. He is my mentor. But at that time, when I first saw his video, it clicked a memory for me of how in the 90s I used to watch his infomercials. And I remember seeing him talk about grants and government money programs. And I remember buying several books for my dad, and they were just gathering dust on the shelf. But I remembered. So I started watching a couple of videos, and really it was just one video that just made me realize this guy is for real. He is legitimate. He is such a caring, giving person. Just watching one video. You definitely want to check out his channel. It's lesgohelp.com. Let's Go Help. And his name is Matthew Lesko. He's a 5-time New York Times bestseller. So anyway, Matthew was talking about grants and how to get them. And he was saying that they're available and that everybody can get grants. And because of COVID, the level of qualification has risen so high. Was like over $100,000. So you would be thinking that in order to be able to qualify for a government program, maybe you'd have to make like less than $30,000 a year or something like that. No. Because of COVID, because of the CARES Act and the funding that has been funneled into the government and the state programs by way of that, it has completely exploded the opportunity for you and me to get grants. So I started learning about this, and Matthew also has a paid Facebook group, and I decided I was just going to take a chance and I was going to invest $39 for 3 months. And one of the benefits of that is that you get to ask Matthew any question that you want, and he creates these free reports filled with his videos. Now, you can go on YouTube. You never have to join his Facebook group. He has probably thousands of videos, and he's adding several a day because he's just amazing. He's about 78 years old, and he's been doing this for 50 years. And there's nobody on the internet who knows grants as intimately as Matthew. So after joining his group, I started learning a little bit more, and I started asking questions about grants and looking for some specifics. And I learned about New York State New York State. Okay, New York State COVID rent relief. Um, I live in New York State. So that was the first grant that I applied for. And it was so complicated. Oh my God. I had never done something so complex and so convoluted and difficult. I had to gather together all of these documents identifying identification for my husband, my son, myself, all the residents of the house, all of our driver's licenses, our tax returns, my husband's payroll, my 1099. Okay, it was insane. It was kind of like the deluge of being being in front, being at the ocean shore, and a wave hitting you. And I wasn't prepared. It was a lot of stuff. And luckily, there was an extension on that program, and I reapplied. But then when I reapplied, this time I had all of my information. I had all my I's dotted and my T's crossed. Okay. But there was a computer glitch. And every single time that I tried to apply using my office computer, it said, sorry, you're rejected. You can't do this on this machine. So I tried my laptop. Same thing. Okay. And true to myself, the second time that the extension was extended, I was trying again, uploading all of my stuff about 15 minutes before the midnight deadline. Again, I don't recommend doing that. But I learned from experience. So there was that. That was very frustrating. I ended up with a big goose egg, nothing. And at that time, New York State was in, and still is, um, eviction. There was a stay of eviction, which meant that the tenants, they could withhold rent on the basis of um, COVID, because of COVID. But I knew, because I had been in real estate running my father's buildings, that this could go on forever. And I knew that the axe was going to come down at some point. So that was the first grant that I tried to apply for with no satisfaction whatsoever. However, I kept on going. And I remember that from Matthew's group, um, okay, one of the really important videos that he did, which I watched, was the importance of getting on the phone and talking to your local representatives, calling your local representatives. Up until that point, I was just kind of canvassing the web, looking for opportunities, doing like these random searches on Google for New York State rent relief, because that was a buzzword that I had heard by watching his videos, and that was not enough. That wasn't doing anything for me. However, once I started making phone calls, I think it happened three. It was a Saturday or so when I saw that. I After the video, I decided I'm going to go for it. I'm just going to send an email to a senator, a local assembly member, a congressman, and another person. And I was largely ignored by the assembly member and the congressman, but the senator's office actually replied with a response email about 2 hours after I reached out, thanking me for getting in touch with them. That just blew my mind. And once I started to connect with my senator, because the next thing that happened was we had scheduled a conversation, a call, and it's called an intake. And I shared with them my family situation where we couldn't afford rent and I had lost the majority of my income. And from that point, through that senator's office, I was introduced to several other local organizations. The first one was Catholic Charities, and that was after I had that first intake, after I met the woman from Catholic Charities, and I did an intake with her, sharing all of the information that I had gathered together for the COVID rent relief grant that I didn't get. I had all my information gathered together. It was uploaded to the cloud. It was scanned. Everything was tight, right? And so within 2 days of talking to that woman, I got an email from them saying that they would pay 1 month of our back rent of $1,800. I almost lost my mind. So I got on the phone and I called her and I thanked her so much. And I sent a thank you email. And they said, we would like you to come to our offices. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to send your landlord the check. And we would also like to give you um, a cash card for $250, which, oh my God, was so amazing. It was November, something like that. And it was getting really cold. And we needed to get more oil for our boiler. And so, thanks to Catholic Charities, we purchased $239 in oil, and that was just amazing. So that was the first $1,800, a $250 gift card. Wait, let me pull up my notes here. Oh, I'm so glad. It's very inspiring. I'm really glad. Do you have any questions? Okay, let me pull up my notes. And if you have any questions, please do me a favor and just put them down in the comments. And I think you have to, since this is being streamed on StreamYard, you have to give StreamYard permission to include your name if you want me to know your name. Okay, let me pull up my notes. All right, so it was the $1,800 from Catholic Charities, the $250 also from Catholic Charities. By then I was getting like fat and sassy and I was getting really excited. And I realized, oh my gosh, I can apply for grants. I can do this. The biggest challenge was getting organized. And I had already done that because of being under the fire from the COVID rent relief program, having to figure it all out. So then the next grant that I got was from a local housing organization for $500. That was amazing. And again, that check, the $500 check, went to my landlord. Then, one of the recommendations that my senator had suggested was for me to go to, I'm not sure. Okay, so in terms of timing, by this time, it was over Thanksgiving. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Who could forget this? It was over Thanksgiving weekend that we had gotten served with a rent demand for $5,200. And I was in a panic. And I reached out to Matthew because I was a member in the group. And I said, what do I do? I've just been served with a rent demand. I have 2 weeks to come up with the money. I don't know what to do. And he wrote back and he said, go to justshelter.org. And I'm telling you to do the same. Go to justshelter.org if you are in need of free legal advice. So I did that. I went to justshelter.org, looked for my county, looked for my local area, found a vendor, found an attorney's, found a group of attorneys that served my area, reached out. I think it was a Monday or so, I'm not sure, but I reached out and I did an intake with them, sharing all of our information. And I was given an attorney, and from that point, things started picking up a little bit. So, as I said, I feel like I might have missed something. Hold on a second. Okay, so I had gotten the $500 through the local housing organization. That's right. Okay, so we had gotten the attorney, but another thing that I did at the same time was the senator's office, because I kept on going back to the senator and saying, oh my gosh, we just got a rent demand. I'm so afraid. What can I do? One of the things they recommended was that I go to social services. Yes, it's also called welfare. Okay, whatever. I went to social services and I filled out a form. Oh my God, 28 pages for real? Yes, 28 pages on Thanksgiving weekend. And I was told that I would get a response in a couple of days. All right. Well, a couple of days later, I think it was that Monday, I had gotten a response from them, and it was by mail, and it was a rejection letter. It was a denial saying, sorry, basically, you earned too much in 2020, so you don't qualify. And I was shattered. And it took everything in me not to rip up that freaking piece of paper. But I didn't. Something told me, no, play it cool, Andrea, be calm. Just put it in the file and maybe you'll need it sometime. Okay. Great. Let's see. Yes, please do share your name. And another user says, I found you from Matthew's group, and I'm one of those persons who have not taken the step to apply for help. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited you're here, because my story will make you realize you can do this, and you can. All right, so here I was. I had put the denial letter from social services into the file, and I was denied on the basis of the fact that we earned too much in 2020. Okay, so I kept on being active in the group, in Matthew's group, and asking questions. And I said, I need more help. I'm so afraid. There's this rent demand notice for $5,200, and I'm glad that we've got an attorney, but we still don't have a way of coming up with the money. And one of the things that Matthew suggested was to contact 211.org. And I'm telling you, 211.org. And 211.org is a local resource hub for all of the county organizations and nonprofits that are in your area that can help you in different ways. So one of the organizations that I contacted was the Salvation Army. Sorry about that, Salvation Army. And let me see if I get this right. Okay, I reached out to the Salvation Army, asked them if they had any opportunities for rent relief. And by now I was starting to develop a little bit of a system. I had figured out what had worked and what didn't work, and I started to develop a system. And if you are a member of my Grants Made Easy with Facebook group here, then you will get to be privy to that system. And also there are tons of videos that I share telling you about the system. So in calling the Salvation Army, I was redirected to another place to call. And I said, I don't know what to do. I'm, really freaking out. I need some kind of help. I need rent relief. And the woman said, well, we don't have rent relief, but she said, we have a program with the United Way, and it offers a $250 grant. And I said, oh my God, fabulous. Um, and the woman said, what you have to do is you have to, in order to be able to be eligible, listen up, you have to have a denial letter from social services. And I did. And I said, as a matter of fact, I have a denial letter. And the woman said, that's great. She said, this is through the United Way. And the way it works is, to cover that grant, we would either pay one bill for you that is at or around $250, or we will give you the equivalent in terms of gift certificates for your local grocery. And I said, fabulous. I said, I shop at Stop and Shop. So, oh my gosh. A couple days later, I had gotten a package from Amazon. And actually, I did a video on this, so you can look at the video. I got a package from Amazon, and it had five $50 gift certificates to my local Stop and Shop. So I did my Christmas shopping with that. Okay, so there's that. Let me check and see. All right, so that's the $250. Now, I have been, let me go back. I have been, since November, I have been working with one-on-one the same attorney since November. That is a year worth of having an attorney to contact, and it's free. That's free. That's just freaking crazy, okay? And Nancy has been so amazing, and I love her to pieces. So let me just give you an idea of, I valued the service, the attorney's service, at $10, which is really, really lowballing it. It's worth so much more than that. So let me explain a little bit. The attorney went to bat for us in terms of the landlord and the demand. And we had found out, when Nancy met with the landlord's attorney, that the landlord, wait a minute, it's important to know. If you are a renter and you are not up to date on your lease and you have let your lease expire, you must attempt to renew your lease. I made the grievous mistake of being too ashamed to face my landlord, my husband and I, to face our landlord, because we were in debt. And it was so stupid, because I had been in real estate for 18 years and I knew how things went, but I did it anyway. And what that meant was that when we lost the leverage of our lease, we lost our rights to the house. And technically, we went into what is called a holdover, which means that you're on a month-to-month basis with the landlord. At their discretion, they're letting you live there. They can kick you out at any time. So Nancy had told us that the money that we owed. Okay, so just let's see. When the 1850 and the 500 and additional money was paid because I was receiving unemployment. Oh, let's not forget that. Hello. That is actually the first thing that I jumped on when I learned about Matthew talking about grants. I learned about pandemic unemployment assistance. And I had no idea that as a freelance graphic designer and virtual assistant that I could actually be eligible for that, but I was. So last year, I earned $15,065 through pandemic unemployment assistance. That's big. Okay, so let's see. Now, another thing was that Matthew had said that if you are in business and your business is struggling, hello, it was. In order to be able to get your business back afloat, there is free business counseling assistance available to everybody through the Small Business Administration. And I will leave all the links below. The Small Business Administration has over 1,000 chapters throughout the United States. And these chapters are run out of colleges or buildings or different places, different locations. And the purpose of it is the way it works is the government will never give you a grant directly. The government funds organizations and state programs, and the government gives block grants to. Remember, I said the housing organization had given me a grant for $500, okay, and Catholic Charities gave me the grant for $1,800. That money came from the government and it was given to Catholic Charities and it was given to the housing organization. And the way that that works, and the reason why it works, is to stimulate the economy, because by picking people up, by lifting people up, by elevating businesses, creating sustainable businesses, the government then gets the assurance that they will get taxes. They will get paid the taxes that they're due from the people who are making more money. All right, so I was researching and finding out. Let's see, a question. Did you do one-on-one? Tell me more about the one-on-one specific to with who. I've done one-on-ones with my attorney. I've done one-on-ones with my business consultant, my business counselor. And that's what I wanted to talk about next, the Small Business Development Center. I found a location that was closest to me, and I went on their website and I applied to get free business counseling. Sorry, I meant, do you provide this service? Oh, do you mean in terms of giving you grants? No, I don't give grants, but I will be offering private coaching for this to help you get organized. I don't know if that helped, if that gave you the answer you needed. Okay. Well, if not, then just clarify in the comments. Let me know. So I applied and I got assistance. I got some counseling with an SBDC rep. And then from there, soon after, I was watching webinars on their website. I was taking mini programs, series programs, like 1 or 2 or 3 Zooms. And basically through that, through the quick research that I did, I am an author, so research comes so naturally to me. I realized that I needed to get some help. I needed to figure out how to pivot my business so that I would start generating a positive cash flow. And I have been working with the program. I signed up for a 60 a 60-hour program, and that was from February of this year to June of this year. We graduated, and in the program, I learned how to create a business plan. The value of that is $2,000 to have a finished business plan, where the marketing is all ironed out and the finances and projections are all ironed out. And in the 60 hours, included was personal financial literacy, that's budgeting. We learned about insuring your business. We learned about business structures. We learned about marketing. There were four sessions. They were 3-hour sessions on Thursdays, sessions on Thursdays, talking about marketing, talking about web design, talking about social media, talking about Clubhouse. I mean, the latest up-to-date information. I hope that I'm being as clear as I can be and that I'm not just flying all over the place, because I'm really excited to share this with you. So anyway, in the calculation that I got over $40,000 worth of grants, I took a very conservative estimate and I valued all of that 1 year worth of private business coaching as $10,000. And you know that's crazy, because you really cannot get private coaching for business for under $350 an hour. So that's just crazy. So to be able to know that you can go to a private consultant who has been there and done that and knows about business and is restricted in terms of any program that is a recipient of government funds is very tightly audited, which means that if they do not perform and they do not provide the value to the individuals named as those who are receiving the grants, then that means they get that much less funding the following year. So it's very much in their interest to serve you and for you to win, for you to have a successful business. Okay, let me quickly jump back in my notes. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. That's right. Okay. So as soon as I got involved in the program, I had gotten an invitation to apply for a new grant that was coming up. It was worth close to $800, and it was to work with a woman who teaches how to use LinkedIn online. And it was to get a free year-long membership from last February to this coming February. And after I applied, I was accepted. So that's one of the things that I have available to me. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, the 12 months of free legal advice through Just Shelter, through my attorney group. All right, now, this you've heard me talk about so many times, guys, the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. Since I had been following, by this time I was so sold on Matthew. I mean, oh my gosh. Actually, after I got the two grants, the 1,800, the 250 and the $500 grants, and the attorney, after I got the attorney, I reached out to Matthew with a thank you, and I told him how much I'm so grateful and so appreciative and how he helped our family. And I asked if he'd be willing for me to interview him. And we sat down and we did a Zoom chat together, and he is just amazing. So he actually encouraged me to do what it is that I'm doing right here with you. So I had been following Matthew's um, videos. And by that time, I had a system where every single day I would watch a video, I would follow up. I had my Google Sheet, I had my, which I have videos. I have a video on how to use a Google Sheet to organize your grant contacts. I would make phone calls consistently. I would also actually record the calls so nothing slipped by me. So I remembered every single thing. All of the information was there. I didn't have to rely on memory. I didn't have to rely on losing notes. None of that. Let's see. So, right. So I was consistently watching Matthew's channel to look to see what was the cutting edge and what was coming up and what was next. And one of the biggest things that he talked about in December of 2020 was a national program that was funded called the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. And it was funded by Congress in 2020. And he said it would take several months for it to move into the place where it actually trickled down into the local county programs through the state. So I had been watching and I followed his directions on how to use Google Alerts, and I set up Google Alerts, and I also have a video on how to use Google Alerts. So I was looking and looking and looking and waiting for the emergency rental assistance program. And let's see, things were heating up in my home. There was so much tension. There was so much pressure because finances were as low as they could have been. Even though I was receiving unemployment, it was still really difficult to, you know, make, oh God, it was a hard time. It was just really difficult because there was a lot of debt and we were being pressured by the landlord to move out by May 31st. That was the agreement. Nancy helped us to get the landlord to promise that she would not require us to pay the remainder of the $28.50, which was the rent remaining, the arrears remaining, if we moved out by May 31st. So we were just all over the place. We had this huge 5-bedroom house and we were trying to move and pack and go to real estate appointments, and just disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. And sadly, after we found a really nice place, which is here, 2 days before we were supposed to move, my husband passed away. And that was wow. You know how you do something and you don't quite understand why you're so driven to do it? Well, I had been wondering why I was spending so much time learning about grants, not only learning about grants for myself, but to teach others. Because as of November, after I talked to Matthew, I decided to open up a Facebook group and to basically do what he was doing and to share everything that I learned with my group, Grants Made Easy with Andrea Amador, on Facebook. And I couldn't quite understand why was I doing this, because I was stretched as thin as I could possibly be. And after Angel passed away, it became really clear to me that by learning about grants, by Matthew teaching me about grants, by me pursuing and going after grants and making mistakes and having successes and, having losses, by going through that experience, it taught me that despite the fact that in the past I have been so bad with money, so irresponsible with money, and lost so much money, that it's okay. It's okay. As I tell my clients, you have to forgive yourself. You have to let go of the past. So what grants has given me is a bridge to the future, a way of recreating and reinventing myself and putting all of the debts and all of the blocks and obstacles and everything else aside and finding a way through. So, thank you so much. I appreciate your condolences. It's very kind. Let me see if I've given you everything. Okay, so there's been a long story. So if you look at the estimate, it's over. It, it's really over 45,000. Oh, and there's one other thing that our attorney Nancy negotiated, and she had told me that right before we left, she said, Andrea, she said, if the landlord does not, after you vacate, if the landlord does not give you a written notice letting you know any issues that they have regarding any items that have either been left undone or left in the house, for whatever reason, anything that would go against your security, then they give up, they forfeit the right to be able to take any security, and they are required to give back the full $1,800 security. Well, guess what? The landlord came up with a letter soon after saying that we had broken a garage door. And not only did they say that, they didn't ask, can you fix it? Is there something to do? They replaced it with $3,000 garage doors. And I started to panic, and I contacted Nancy. And that's when she told me that. She said, no, Andrea. She said, that doesn't fly. She said, the landlord does not have a leg to stand on with that. And so Nancy reminded the landlord of that. And a few weeks later, we got a check back for $1,800. So really, I have gotten the equivalent of over $50,000 worth of grants, considering also that these services, the business consulting service, the free legal service, is ongoing and continues. So does anybody have any questions? Okay. So if you are having a hard time, if you can't pay your rent, if you are in debt, there are government programs for everything you can think of. Now, you probably know about the Pell Grant if you're a mom and you have kids in school, and that's really great. That's one example of an education grant. But there are so many grants. It'll knock your socks off. And I intend to share as much as I can to get you going after those grants so that your life can begin to change as mine has and continues to. just recently on October 7th. Oh, hold on. Sorry, got to give you the update. Okay, so I had been looking for the emergency rental assistance program in my area, and I had known about it since December. And Matthew had said that if you're not finding it, then reach out to your local representatives and let them know, find out from them, where is it dropping? Where is it? So I have been emailing my local senator since, I want to say, January, telling them, I know it's coming. I know it's coming. Have you heard? Where's the emergency rental assistance program for New York State? Where is it? I reached out to the housing organization. Every single person said, no, it's gone. You're mistaken. What they were thinking was that they were thinking of the New York State COVID rent relief program, which had been blown out as of July 15th, I think it was July or August, something like that. So they didn't even know about it. I knew about it, but they didn't. And I kept saying, I know it's coming. I know it's coming. I know it's coming. And finally, one day, I did a Google search and I found out that it was coming to my area and applications would be open as of, I think it was June 1st. And I didn't hit it June 1st, but July 7th, I think my son and I had gathered all of our papers together and we went to the same local housing organization. And the emergency rental assistance program, if you don't know, will pay up to 10 months of rent arrears, back rent that you owe, and 3 months going forward. And after that 3 month period, you can also recertify and get an additional 3 months. So there's a tremendous amount of money available. So I had applied for the emergency rental assistance program in July. And at that time, I had just paid the rent, the $1,550 to the landlord. And so I told the housing organization, I said, I just paid my rent. I don't want to owe any rent. I'm afraid that if I do owe rent, the landlord will evict me. I said, I'm seeking rent relief going forward into the future. And we did that. We completed the application. And a week later or so, I contacted New York State Emergency Rental Assistance Program, the hotline. And I was told, I said, can you give me a status on my application? And they said, yes. They said, we notice that you did not have any rent arrears when you applied back in July. And I said, that's correct. And the woman said, well, I'm not going to confirm this. She said, you might be an exception, but she said, for the most part, it looks like your application would be denied if you leave it as it is. She said, my recommendation is to withdraw the application and start over again, owing rent. Oh my God. Oh my God. That was like a knife in the gut. So anyway, after feeling sorry for myself for the next day and a half, I contacted my attorney, Nancy, and I was recommended to another attorney, Justin, and he said, yes, he agrees that that was good advice, that it is a good plan to withdraw the application and start over again, owing August rent. So that's what we did. We went back owing August rent and completed the whole application process all over again. I've already told you how hair-raising it is. And then about a week or two later, I reached out and I said, I'm just checking to see if everything is okay. And your landlord also needs to comply by filling out their portion of your application as well to verify through their records, through their rent journal, that rent ledger, that you do owe rent and the amount of your rent and the dates of your payments and all of that. So to make a long story short, it took, I think it was a month and a half, but just recently, 2 weeks ago, I think it was, I contacted the helpline again, and I said, I just want to check to see what the status is. And they told me, they said, you've been approved for $6,200. It's been sent to your landlord. Oh my God. Oh my God. So I contacted my landlord, reached out, and they told me that I'm all paid up until January 1st. So you deserve that same sense of relief. Please, please look at my story as an example telling you what's possible by learning how to leverage government grants. All right, so I want to do a share screen with you real quick. Couple things. Okay, so here is my beloved Facebook group. And right, here's my beloved Facebook group. And here is some of the posts that I've written. That's a live stream. There's tons of live streams. And if you are looking for help to apply to grants and you need that little extra edge that only a coach can give you. Now, I'm not talking about just deluging you. Oh man, that was awkward. Just giving you so much information. No, I'm talking about teaching you how to organize your records. I'm talking about helping you to handle the extraordinary anxiety and stress that comes from dealing with this entire process. It's unbelievably overwhelming. And as a stress relief expert, I teach my clients how to use emotional freedom technique. And that has been an absolute saving grace for me to use that on a consistent basis to manage my own anxiety and my fears, like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get it. I did it wrong. What am I going to do? All of this kind of stuff. So if you haven't yet joined my Facebook group, now is the time. Go join. And the other thing is I have available a mini course, and you can download it for as low as $1 and any amount that you like. So the mini course, this is the site where you go, AndreaAmador.com/grants-made-easy. That is my site. These are the things that you will get in the mini course. You get your Getting Started guide. It talks about the importance of organizing yourself, setting aside a specific space where you're going to do grants. Then talk about the emergency services guide. What do you do if you are facing an eviction? What do you do? Where do you go if you're worried about your electricity being shut off? That will give you all of the resources that I found specifically that helped myself and my family. This is a video and a PDF on how to find your elected officials. Not only how to find them, how to talk to them, to recognize that these are people who are doing a wonderful job, and their job is to help their constituents, you and me, to build them up and to help them to have better lives. It doesn't matter if you voted for them or not, doesn't matter at all. So if you're interested in getting the mini course, just click on this. Oh, that's bad. What is up with that? Hold on a sec. Okay, click on the mini course. This is it. So it says, oh, that's edit product. That's because I'm in my own account. But the minimum is $1, any amount you like, and you just name the price right here. So let's say $3, and then you just click on I want this. So up to $1, you can get it. And these are some of the images of the course. Let's see. What? This is crazy. Okay, so that's not working for me. All right. So anyway, let me go back. But you definitely want to be a member of my Facebook group, Grants Made Easy with Andrea Amador. This has been an extraordinarily long live stream. I love you so much, and thank you so much for being here. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, you guys, have a great night. Happy grant hunting.